Welcome, everyone. It's a beautiful day. I'm broadcasting from Trinidad and Tobago in the Caribbean. This is Corinne Lafont, your favorite and only radio host. You should be listening to anybody else. This is Between the Lines Empowering Network, and I'm here with Tatiana Berende.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did well. Berende. She says to me, it's bear in the day. Okay, bear in the day. Berende. Beautiful she is. Well, her hair is not as long as you see it here now. We were just talking a while ago, and she said she cut off 10 inches. 10 inches is a lot. So can you imagine if she cut off 10 inches? That's almost a foot, people.
It's a real quick weight loss program.
Right? Well, that's the quickest way to cut it off. Cut it off. Oh my gosh. And what are we talking about today? Sex as a spiritual practice. Sex, oh my God, on a Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. Sex on a Tuesday. Sex as a spiritual.
Sex on a Tuesday. Why not?
Sex on a Tuesday. Sex is a spiritual practice, people. I'm going to share a bit about Tatiana, and then we're going to go straight into it. So Tatiana is a minister, relationship coach, and visionary. She's also a relationship expert at superpowerexperts.com. SPE, or Superpower Experts, is an online organization which operates on the philosophy that we are all more powerful together. Listen to that again, people. We are all more powerful together, and assist others in transforming their personal power into superpowers so they can change the world. Put on your cape, people. Go get it out. Get your cape on. Tatiana is the host of Sex, Love, and Superpowers podcast show, which features prominent people in the field of human relationships, sexuality, and women empowerment. Welcome, Tatiana, to Between the Lines.
Thank you so much. It's really wonderful to be here. It's quite an honor. I'm already having fun. So
yes, you're already having fun. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna, well, your logo is certainly talking about superpowers with the cape there. Okay. So I have my cape on, my virtual cape on. I'm always super ready. I mean, when you're a super, you need to always be in ready mode. You never know.
Right.
That's right. When something can happen, okay? And so you just always have to be in ready mode. So I'm ready. So we're talking about sex as a spiritual practice. What does that mean? Because people take it as sex as a physical practice. And really,
sure.
As a practice. As a practice, and you notice I stress on that, practice, okay, and physical, okay. So you need to explain what you mean by sex as a spiritual practice.
Sure. Well, when I talk about sex as a spiritual practice, I'm really talking about using it and using the body and using sensation as a vehicle for experiencing higher and expanded states of consciousness. There's a lot that comes up when we are in the bedroom, depending on what our life story has been like. I mean, of course, there's the physical pleasure. There's also a lot of women in particular. I work a lot with women who have forgotten how to have pleasure during sex, or they think that it's just not ever going to happen for them, or they've lost interest in it, or there's some disconnect that takes place. And what I have found is that if there is that disconnect or a lack of pleasure or a lack of thinking that you deserve pleasure in the bedroom, then likely it's happening in other areas of your life as well.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So I work with, I don't only work with sexuality, but I have found it to be, if it's happening between the sheets, it's happening everywhere else. And if you can clean it up between the sheets, you can clean it up everywhere else.
Yeah, well, once things are good in the bedroom, things are good everywhere else, because because you're in a different mood. Your whole outlook on life is different. And so this is why you're saying it's a different level of consciousness. But people, as I said, just take it as a physical thing, for physical pleasure, not realizing the importance of that connectivity, because it's two beings, two energy coming together.
That's right.
Playing with each other, having fun, trying to make those two energy forces become one, and take it to another level. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
take it to
Mm-hmm.
another level. People don't realize that. And so when we're choosing our partners, it is important to know. Now, somebody might say, and listening to this, how would you know then if you don't practice with the person? If you don't practice with the person first, in
Uh-huh.
order to know. But you can see, to me, I mean, this is my personal opinion, you can see and feel the energy of somebody and know, how they may please you or bring pleasure to you based on how they interact with you outside of the sheets or outside of.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's also something to be said for growing together within the context of a relationship. Everybody's body is different, and somebody might be a really excellent lover,
Mm-hmm.
and you might have specific places that you want to be touched. And part of why this is a practice is because, especially, like I said, for a lot of women, we have lost our voices. We have been silenced. And so to be able and willing to speak up in the bedroom about what feels good, to be willing to make sounds of pleasure, to be willing to say when something doesn't feel good, when it hurts, and to be willing to stand up for yourself enough to say, actually, like, this isn't working for me right now. I need to stop. I need to, something's coming up for me. There's a trigger. I need to reevaluate,
Yeah,
or, let's go in this direction. There's so much. And
yeah,
that's why I say it is a practice, because there's so much work and it's beautiful work. And it's the work of becoming more of who we are,
yeah. I
which is
wanna
why it's
I
spiritual.
wanna take that, Tatiana. Sorry for cutting you, my
That's
darling. There's
okay.
so
That's
many things
okay.
running through my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to take the word practice and call it discovery. A sort
Uh-huh.
of discovery.
Yes.
Self-discovery, more so getting to know you, because you're totally naked,
Yes.
right? You're totally bare. You're
Mm-hmm.
totally vulnerable. And
Yes.
you're discovering, you have to learn about yourself. What
Mm-hmm.
makes you feel good? And this other person is helping you to understand what feels good, what doesn't. But you're talking about silence. Who silenced us? We silence ourselves as women.
That's right. That's
Yes,
right.
the society probably put some pressure on that and have, they always say a woman, what they say, girls are, children are here to be seen, not heard, kind of a thing. And
Mm-hmm.
especially a woman,
Mm-hmm.
she must know her place.
Mm-hmm.
All these different things, limiting beliefs to keep us back, to keep us silent, for us not to speak out about how we feel and how, and what we want,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it took some liberating years in the past, and people are still trying to be liberated. And when men hear about this whole women's liberation, they take it to a level like, what women think they're doing. They want freedom. Yeah, take your freedom. I'm not going to help you. I'm not going to support you. Yeah, you feel you could do it on your own. That kind of, um, I don't know what to call that thinking, that
Well,
kind of extremist.
I want to speak to that for a second,
Yeah,
because from
yeah.
my understanding, that is a reaction, and it's one that comes from a place of fear in the men,
Mm,
because they are afraid that if women step into their power, if
mm-hmm.
women claim their voices, if women claim their bodies, they're afraid of a few things. They're afraid, first of all, that women are going to step into an aggressor role. If they step into positions of power and leadership, they're going to lead the way men have.
And so
Not
what?
true,
And so,
right? They're afraid that they will no longer have a place. I think
and
that's actually one of the deepest fears.
but hold on, Tatiana. And what? We never had a place before, and they were in the place. What
Yeah.
what did we do? Cry and bawl about it? Yeah,
Yeah.
we may have talked about it with our friends, female friends, and in our corners, but we couldn't do anything at the time.
It's true, but I think what we're moving into and what we're being encouraged to as women is to, yes, claim that power, claim our space, but to do so in a way that doesn't eclipse anybody else.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But it doesn't. But to men, it may not be that a matter eclipse anybody else. It is. Don't be aggressive. Don't be bold. That's not
Right.
the frame of a woman.
That's right.
That's not the frame. So they frame us in this box. And
Mm-hmm.
even though you want to say as a woman that, you know, you're coming into a man, quote unquote, man's role, or you're taking charge, or you're being more, you're taking more initiative, or you're speaking out more, you're still limited. And we don't want you, and I'm speaking on men here now, you know, the men don't want you to take away from them. It's like if a woman steps forward, it takes away from them. Why do people think like that?
Because they're afraid. It's purely fear that's talking, and it's because there is what we're all being called into right now. You know, there is a divine masculine and there is a divine feminine energetic that lives inside of all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And what we are all being called into is to finding the balance within ourselves of both of those energies.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that the men are being called more into their nurturing,
Mm-hmm.
into their collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
And the women are being called more into their decisiveness and into their challenger role.
Mm-hmm.
And that does not mean that we become all challenger and all decisive. It
Right.
means we learn how to find the balance of both of those energies inside of us. And that's a lot of the work that I do with people, is helping not to be, you know, all of one thing, but to be a full, complete human being, to have both of these masculine and feminine energetics working within us, whether we're male or female.
Yeah.
I think that's really the call that all of us on this planet are being ushered into right now.
Yeah.
And
You have
different
a
people have
fabulous
different
point.
words for it, but
Yeah,
thank
you
you.
have a fabulous point, and I love that. And as you're saying that, that brought a sort of peace. I felt a comfort in what you're saying. Um, you know, because we all have different selves, different roles.
Mm-hmm.
And a woman might be doing something now, and she has a male partner or a friend or whatever, and it's her time. And the man should really be the one to support her, encourage her, be the biggest cheering squad at that time.
That's
And it's
right.
the same for the reverse. It may be the man's time for something now, and you should be that cheering squad,
Yep.
supporter, etc. You know, it comes back to the whole energy and picking up and understanding even before you get between the sheets. When you watch all the way he and she interact,
Mm-hmm.
you know, relate, coexist, communicate, you know, how you do all of these things before you jump in the sheets.
Mm-hmm.
Before you jump in the sheets, because you would be able to determine or have some sort of idea where this may be leading. But Tatiana, you know, when people are courting, they put on their best selves.
That's
And
right.
as soon as they get you, because no matter how long it takes, the lion will sit there until he gets what he wants.
Mm-hmm.
He would lay low until he gets what he wants. And it's the
And
same
that,
thing for women too. And then once they get it, you see a different side.
yes, and that's why I find sex to be one of the most revealing places.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a little nerve-wracking for people when you talk about, you know, that sexual discovery, because yeah, for a lot of men, it means, oh, like, women are going to start being conscious about this, which means that I need to step up my game and I need to actually be this respectful, kind, you know, supportive man who I am playing on the outside. I need to be that in the bedroom too. And there's certain things that he's going to have to work through to step into those places if
Mm-hmm.
he's not already embodying them between the sheets.
Mm. So
And
you
it's
can't
hard for
pretend.
men.
You can't pretend
You
every.
can't pretend. And it's hard because I think a lot of men receive their sexual education from pornography. And that is not where
Yeah,
you go to learn how to be a sensitive, receptive
yeah,
lover, right?
yeah,
You do not learn that from porn.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
That's choreographed.
yeah, exactly. It's theater. It's theater.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
I think the more that we can understand that, and the more that we as women can step into a place of acknowledging that on some level,
mm-hmm,
if we don't teach the men how to be good lovers, they
mm-hmm.
might not have role models in their lives for that. And so
Yeah,
if we want our man to be an excellent lover, we need to step up and be willing to ask for what we want.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God! Now there are some men, sorry, that really appreciate that when a woman, they see it as bold in the bedroom, but leave
Yeah,
it in the bedroom. But outside of the bedroom, you better be submissive.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these are, these are places that we need to be exploring, that we need to be exposing, that we need to be talking about and working on as a collective. And
Mm,
I think that, you know, we're seeing this total eruption
mm,
in the States. We're seeing a huge eruption with the Me Too
yeah.
movement, with everything that's been happening in politics and
Yeah.
in the film industry. I mean, it's huge,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And women are starting to step up and out. And I think the men are scared, and they need love, they need education, they
Yeah.
don't need to be demonized.
Yeah. Yeah.
I am the last person who wants to come out against anybody, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that we all have a divine source, and it's my job and my desire to speak to that divine source in every single person that I know and that I work with.
Yeah.
Um, because
Yeah.
I believe that's what we're here to do. I really believe we're here to evolve, and I think that this is a really fun way to do it. If you're
Of course.
gonna,
To practice. Yes.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the fun part about practicing, but
Yeah.
right. But it's what you're sharing is really significant, and I want people to really get from listening from this the seriousness. It is not just a matter of all fun and excitement and joy and pleasure, but it's really serious because you want to see people happy. You want to see people, I don't know, just walking on air. I mean, and like you said, the other parts of their lives reflect what's happening between the sheets, the frustration, the anger, the anxiety, the fears. Because once you feel powerful in between the sheets and in the bedroom, and you have a fantastic partner who understands you, listens to you, because it's important when a woman is talking, you listen, and you don't only listen because you have two ears, because when a woman says something, it's not really what she may be saying. So you have, as a man, to investigate that more, to understand what she's saying, and do that mirroring and, talking back to her to understand really where she's coming from,
Yeah.
and that, yeah, that increase of understanding in order to have happy people, happy
Yeah.
people in the home, in the bedroom, happy people out at work. Because come on, Tatiana, when a man and woman get it on, when they wake up on a morning and you go to work, you're smiling all day,
That's right.
right?
Yeah. When it's good, it's good.
When it's good, it's good. You're smiling all day. No matter what the boss does or says to you, or someone of your co-workers, you really don't care, right? Because you're going home to this man. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, I really want to emphasize that it's not all about sex, uh,
Mm-hmm.
because it's about learning how to enjoy
Yeah.
your life,
Mm.
how to find enjoyment. Because once you start opening up those pleasure pathways in one area, it's easier to find them in others.
Yes.
Um, and that's really what this work is about.
Mm.
It is about learning how to enjoy your life, how to find pleasure in being here in a body on this planet.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like how you say inner body, because this is just a shell.
That's
This is
right.
just a shell. And like a previous guest on my show says that this is a vehicle you get to ride around in. You
That's
know,
right.
you get to ride around in this. You can't trade it. You can't sell it. You know, this is yours for keeps until the time
Until the
comes.
next time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You can't. I mean, although people go to different body shops to try to change it and do all sorts of things, it's yours.
But
Right.
that's the piece. That's why I think if we can find how to have pleasure and how to have enjoyment without changing what the physical looks like on the outside, but
Yeah.
really finding that fulfillment on the inside, the physical automatically will change if
Yeah.
we are finding more enjoyment
Yeah.
and more pleasure in our life.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it
Or
doesn't. It doesn't
ceases
matter
to
what you look
matter.
like. It doesn't matter what you look like. If somebody appreciates
That's
your
right.
body and you appreciate the other person's body, it doesn't matter, you know.
If
And people,
you appreciate your body.
yeah, but it has
Yes.
to
It's
start with
about,
you. It has to start with you, Tatiana.
that's right.
Yeah, you have to love
That's
yourself
right.
first.
Yes, and you have to know your own body and what makes you feel good. And this is when I work with women, I encourage them to get to know their bodies without their partner. What makes you, how can you know how to tell someone else about what feels good if you haven't explored that territory for yourself yet?
Yeah, but it's
You have to
embarrassing.
know one of my
It's embarrassing for a
what
woman
was that?
it might be embarrassing for a woman to tell a man, hey, you know, for 10, 15 years you have been touching me this way and I've really not liked it. You know, it doesn't do
Yeah,
anything for me. And
absolutely.
yeah, he'll be like 10, 15 years and you're now telling me this, or you decide you want to be freaky now when you have always been freaky, and he finds, you know, you have given in to to being less than who you are. And you know, and I'm not just talking about in the sheets,
Hmm.
I'm talking about just holistically here. And he sees you, you know, after a
That's
while
right.
you've grown, you've realized the tiger in you is roaring, and you're not getting what you want, and you start to express it 10, 15, 20 years down the road, and he'd be like, who the hell is this? This is not you. You're not, this is, it's like it's strange to him. How would you're dealing with a couple with this type of dilemma. How would you deal with that?
Mhm. Well, I would deal with it at the onset, because the way that I work with people, they invest in themselves and they work with me in programs. I won't work for someone usually for less than 3 months. I have one-off sessions that I do with people, but if we're going to dive into this work, it takes time. And so if someone is investing in a program with me and they're stepping into this work, they need to let their partner know at the onset, look, I'm entering into this exploration, and there might be things that I discover, there might be things that I uncover that have been buried for a long time, and I'm just going to ask you for your support in this journey.
Mm-hmm.
um, and and that in and of itself, that's the beginning of the work, because it takes courage to just even speak that much and
Mm-hmm.
to get him on board with you,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And to let him know that this is only going to benefit him and your relationship
Yeah.
for you to be doing this work. It can only benefit him
You know, I'm glad you
if
mentioned
he's
that. I'm
willing
glad
to
you
support you
mentioned
and
that.
go with you on it. And if he's not,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm listening to you.
yeah.
Yeah. No, if he's not.
I was going to say, if he's not,
Mm-hmm.
if you find that
Mm-hmm.
you're in a relationship and you're doing the growth and he doesn't like it, if you're communicating with him throughout the journey, you're not just all of a sudden about face like, I'm a different person now and like you need to change. No one needs to hear that. That's no one likes that. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're stepping into a fuller version of yourself and you are loving yourself for the first time and you are coming to explore all of these areas of yourself you didn't even know were possible, and your man does not like that,
Mm-hmm.
then you might need to reevaluate your relationship,
Hmm. I'm telling you, speak it, Tatiana.
or he has work to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Speak it, but that's a fearful thing to do. This has been your partner for however long you wanted to work, and now you have reached a crossroads where you may have to decide if you continue with it. That's deep stuff, Tatiana. Bear in the
Yeah,
day. That's that's deep
that's
stuff.
deep stuff.
That's deep
Yeah.
stuff. That's deep stuff. And
And
what also comes
I'm
with it,
not an advocate.
yeah.
I'm not an advocate for breaking up relationships.
Mm,
You
yeah.
know, I think if the men are willing to rise to the work, then
Mm,
absolutely. And a lot of men are inspired by their women coming into themselves.
mm,
But we've got to speak some truth here. It's like, if you've been in a relationship where you have not been being treated well,
mm-hmm,
and you've been putting up with it for years, and
mm,
you finally come to love yourself enough to say, I am not putting up with this drama anymore.
yeah.
Even if he decides to change, there might be a part of you that that feels done, that feels like you need to cut that cord in order to explore these different areas of yourself. And that's an individual journey, though.
Yeah.
Everyone has to make that decision for themselves. And if there's children involved, there's all sorts of things that can complicate these kinds of processes. But I'm a fierce advocate for our individual and collective evolution. And if that means changing a relationship, changing your environment, changing your job, changing something in a really big way, then that's what it means.
Yeah. You do what you have to do. Self-preservation, keeping your sanity. Yeah. Becoming a better version of you. It's better late than never. It's better late than never. And
That's
try
right.
try to bring some joy into your life. But coming back to the relationship, where the woman expresses, the change. I wouldn't even really say the change, but she has recognized who she has been all this time, that she has kept on the down low, and she's saying it to him. The man may feel slighted. He may start to blame himself. He might start to say, oh, it's my fault. Which is a kind of reverse psychology to make as a woman feel guilty about coming out on of yourself, growing. What are your thoughts on that?
Sure, but nobody can make you feel, no one can make you feel guilty. Guilt is a choice that you step into. If he's going to go into that space, then you can say, okay, well, let's work on this together. Or I'm working with somebody, you find somebody to work with. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but you can't. Guilt is something that you take on yourself. No one can put that on you. And so if you're not willing to pick it up, they can try all day long. But if you're clear in yourself, and if you have the support, I really do believe that with some of this stuff, especially if these are old patterns that we've been working for a long time, we need support. With some of this stuff we can't do by ourselves. We can do a lot of beautiful growth work by ourselves, but there are just certain places we can't see our blind spots, and so we need help. And that's what we offer at SPE. And not just at SPE. I mean, there's a lot of places where people offer this work, in different places that different people can resonate with. I really, if you're someone who's listening to this and you're like, oh my God, I know that there's work that I have to do, that I know that there's expansion that I am waiting and longing for, and everything that you're saying is like a drink of fresh water, reach out, get the support. And don't take on someone else's stuff that they're trying to throw at you. They cannot put it on you. You can only pick it up and put it on yourself.
Kick it to the curb. Kick it to the curb. Kick it to the curb. If they're throwing their luggage, their baggage, their dirty laundry, throw it back out. Throw it back out. Don't accept it. Hell no. Hell no.
That's right.
Hell no. Put on that damn cape. Put
Not
on
my
that
dirty
damn cape.
laundry.
Yeah.
That's right.
Put
That's
on
right.
that damn cape. You can't be a superhero and taking on baggage. That's going to keep you from flying. Come on. You can't fly.
Right.
Have you ever seen Superman with any luggage?
Exactly.
Have you ever seen Superman with any luggage? No.
No.
No. Okay? I've never seen I've never seen any superhero with any heavy anything. They're always traveling light, very light.
That's
okay?
Right.
So why do we as women think that we need to take on the guilt? Take it up, hug it up, kiss it, sleep with it, whatever. Hell, I'm getting upset. Tatiana. Tatiana, I'm getting upset. You can tell how passionate I feel about this topic. I am so passionate. Yeah, because I believe,
That's right.
I speak to women in toxic
relationships. Put that baggage down.
Yeah, I speak to women in toxic relationships. That's one of my target audience, and that's who I speak to. And I know what it feels like. I've had the experience, I've had the years in it, and you've really come out of your own and you've found that freedom. And it's like you're being blamed. You're being, emasculated, whatever it is, you're being, how shall I say, punished. Punished is the word. Punished for actually doing
Yeah,
something for you. You're being punished for doing something for you.
that's
Like
right.
you should be guilty for looking out for yourself. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. And it's
But
not a it's
but
not a
here's
sort
the
of
thing, and
selfishness. Huh?
here's where here's where the education piece comes in, and here's where we as women need to bond together and understand that one woman's struggle is all of our struggle.
Mm.
Because if one woman can choose, and if we can collectively as women, I mean, think about how powerful this is. If we all decide together that enough is enough, and there are certain behaviors that we are just not going to accept anymore, the men will learn. It may take time, but eventually they will learn that is not how you treat a woman.
Simple as
Because
that.
woman after woman will say no. They will leave. They will not take it anymore.
Mm-hmm. Simple as that. Simple as that. And this whole submissiveness cannot continue. And I'm not saying that there aren't times when I wouldn't even call it submission, because I don't like the word submission. There are times when you need to, I don't know what the word is, be female. Let's call it that. Be female, be the softer
Well,
side.
there's a gentleness.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, there's a gentleness.
yes.
There's a gentleness. There's a nurturing that we inherently know how to do
Right,
as mothers.
right, right, right. And as wives, and as sisters, and as aunts and
Mm-hmm.
grandmothers, whatever role you're in, there's a gentleness that comes with that, because that was placed in us. Yeah, that is just who we are. But
Yeah,
that doesn't stop you
yeah.
from being bold, being aggressive, because people have told me I'm aggressive. I'm like, hello, it's bold. It's not aggressive, right? I could be aggressive at times if it's called upon, but it's bold. Okay? It's all right.
Yeah,
Clearly, you don't understand the
yeah,
difference between aggression and
yeah.
boldness, right?
Right.
Right? Not,
Yes, and there
yeah,
is a difference, and
there is a
that's
difference.
and that's the piece. Just because you're a woman carrying that challenger energy, that decisive energy, that is more in that like masculine forward moving space, that can be confusing for people, or it feels uncomfortable for them because you're in a woman's body carrying that energetic, right? And they say, oh,
Exactly.
aren't you just supposed to be soft and demure all the time?
Yeah.
But the women are being called into that, and we're in this is the interesting flip. The women are being called into that, and the men are being called into a softer space.
Simple as that. Yes.
And
Yes.
we all have both inside of us.
Yes. Yes. I like how you say that, decisiveness, because I also use that word with people when it comes to me. I say I'm decisive, I'm bold, I know what I want. And it doesn't mean that I'm just going to sit back,
Mm-hmm.
and allow you to
Mm-hmm.
trample over me, do me what you wish, and just be what? Female about it. Your
That's right.
terms of female, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. I know what I want, and this is what I came to get.
Right.
This is what I have to achieve, right? And so it's either they understand it or they step aside. They understand it or they step aside, because if they have something to do, it's the same thing. Either you understand it or you step aside, right? That's as simple as that. But
Yeah.
this is a fantastic conversation,
Yeah.
Tatiana. I'm having fun. I'm showcasing your website as we go along. I'm on your programs page.
Yeah. Thank
It
you.
says personal power can only
Mm-hmm.
take you so far. When you really want to change the world, you need superpower. But why did you use superpower? What is the significance of having your site a superpower, your business named Superpower Experts?
Yeah. So Superpower Experts was actually developed by Tonya, the woman who's whose name is after this quote.
Yeah.
And she and I work in collaboration and in synergy together. And I joined an organization that she had already started. So Superpower Experts isn't actually a title that I came up with, but it's one that I believe in. I believe in her message. I believe in what we are doing here at Superpower Experts. And if you ask her, I think there's a certain part of it that was just sort of fun. She and her family have always been really into, like, superhero movies and stuff like that. And so there was a fun aspect, but there's also a truth to it. There's also a truth to it. We do have superpowers, and it's time to start calling them out. A lot of people, I think, have lived in this space of thinking like, oh, there's something wrong with me, or I'm weird, or they're not willing to talk about or share with other people because they think people are going to think they're crazy if they say like, oh yeah, I can hear other people's thoughts, or oh yeah, I can see energy, or I can perceive all these different things, And so really started out by providing a space for people to be able to acknowledge that those are real gifts that we have, and then what do we do with them? How do we cultivate them to really affect positive change in the world?
Yeah, how do we channel it? That reminds me of a show. I can't remember the name of the show, but I'm seeing it in my mind, where these people had different superpowers and they just kept quiet to themselves. And eventually they found each other, learned about each other, and came together, and was actually having an impact in the world. Regular people, some people up time, some people could apply, some people could, a lot of different things. I remember the show, it was a series on TV. It's not coming to me right now, but I'm seeing the show. One guy was a Japanese, I think, Chinese guy with a sword, like he was this person, and he could have moved time. Really, really good show. I don't know what happened after a while. I wasn't seeing it anymore. But as you mentioned, people have powers. We all have powers, we all have powers, but we are not tapping into that
and I
power.
think it's about.
Go ahead, I'm hearing.
Right. And we don't necessarily know we don't have clarity as to why we would want to. Yeah. So, and there was something that you mentioned in describing the show of, oh, there's all these people keeping their superpowers to themselves, and then they came together. And that's really, really at the core foundation of Superpower Experts is understanding that we can't do this work alone, that we need each other, and that we want to be together, and that when one of us is thriving, then all of us can thrive, and that is the best work that we could be doing, is to be really coming into these fullest versions of ourselves and helping others to do the same.
Yeah. Helping people to be their best version of themselves, finding out what their powers are, tapping into it, channeling it for a positive cause, and to help impact others' lives. Tatiana, wow, this has been a fantastic conversation. It has moved from just sex, as a spiritual practice, moving from the bedroom to the wider perspective of life. Because, well, as you said, from very, very early in the show, whatever is happening in the bedroom, more than likely it's also having an impact in other aspects of your life. So we need to really understand what's going on with ourselves, who we are, what we are. Take the time to understand and not be so busy, caught up with what's going on in the world. I often tell people, I may live in the world, but I'm not of the world.
That's right.
I may live in the world, but I'm not of the world. And that's very significant. That's very significant. Tatiana, is there any few words that you want to share with the audience before we close off?
I just really, again, want to emphasize the importance of getting support to do this work. If you're called to the next stage of your evolution, if you're called to this growth, really get the support for it. And to know that if they're, we were talking a lot about women and, leaving toxic relationships. And if there is a woman who, who is finally stepping into herself, put your hands at her back and support her. We need to come together in this way. And that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to make a big change like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing you can do if you know someone in your life who is deciding to use that courage is to support them in that.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to get to your shop page here, but it's the connection is taking a bit, because I noticed that when we're talking,
And
it's
reach
kind
out.
of choppy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm definitely trying to show that page, on
that's okay.
your website.
So you can, if you go to TatianaBaronday.com.
Yeah. It's actually coming up now, so I'm
Yeah,
seeing.
I don't know the shop. If you go to TatianaBaronday.com,
Yeah.
it takes you directly to my profile page
Oh.
on Superpower Experts,
Mm-hmm.
and people can schedule. I offer free consultations. So if this is work that you're interested in, you can schedule a free consultation with me right on my page. You wouldn't find it in here. You would find it if you go to About and you go down to Experts and Coaches. My page is there.
Beautiful.
And that's where people can schedule free consultations with me if they want to learn more about what that would look like to work together.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I'm on your shop page here on your website. I'm seeing a number
And
of
I wanna say too. Yeah, I want to say too. Yeah, so there's numbers associated with those programs, but I really want to make it known that at SPE we are really devoted to supporting people in their growth regardless of their financial situation. And so if you saw some of those numbers scrolling through and that felt like, "Oh my God, that's just immediately I'm going to shut down and I can't do that."
yeah.
Know that there are other options for you. So please reach out. Please reach out because we are committed to doing this together. We're committed to our collective growth, and regardless of whatever's happening for you financially.
Fantastic, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because I did see that and I know how some people will react. So I'm glad that you mentioned that. Thank you so much, Tatiana, for being on this show, for having such a wonderful conversation with me this morning.
Yeah.
It's been enlightening. It's been calm. There's a calmness to the
Absolutely.
conversation.
Thank you.
Yes, there's a calmness, there's a peace to the conversation. Because you in chaos, you cannot work things out in chaos. You cannot think clearly in chaos. You cannot react positively in chaos.
Right.
So there's a peace in the conversation with you. Sex as a spiritual practice. People understanding their divine calling and really understanding themselves. Discovery, as we said, discovery together with practice. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the work you do at Superpower Experts with your team. And I want to wish you all the best with what you're doing. And definitely we're going to be promoting the show and sharing and letting people know the work that you do. And we hope that there will be more happy people, joy-filled people, because life is too short. So people need to really live and live their best life right here, right now. Not tomorrow, not next year, because you don't know if you will have a tomorrow or next year. It's right now. Thank you so much, Tatiana, for being on Between the Lines. This is Corinne Lafont.